In this video, I'm going to be going over some of the rarest skins in Ark Survival Evolved. It's going to start out pretty rare, but it's going to get to the point where only a very select few people actually have some of these skins in the game. So I just want to go over a few things before we start. First off, of course, a lot of these skins have actually been put into the shop in Genesis Part 1 and 2, so all the event ones aren't really rare because you can buy them at any time. And also the skins you get for getting all of the Explorer notes. These ones would technically be rare because getting all the Explorer notes is insanely hard. But a lot of people actually use the command to get all of them, and you can, once you do that, it locks them to your account, so you have them forever and you can use them on servers and stuff. All the other ones you can spawn in, but you can spawn them in like in single player, and then that won't really transfer over to a server. But with the Explorer note one, that is how it works. So that means that those ones aren't really rare, so I'm not going to be including the Explorer note ones. At number 10 is the Scary Skull Helmet. The way you get this one is by defeating Alpha Rockwell on Aberration. Now this one isn't the hardest one to get in the entire game, or the rarest one, but of course we're starting out here and it's going to get harder. But I think this one is rare for a few different reasons. First off, Alpha Rockwell isn't the easiest boss. Now it can be easy if you use the Cactus Broth method, which you can only really do if you transfer from another map, which a lot of people would do on official, so that's why I don't have it higher on the list, or else I probably would if the Cactus Broth method didn't exist. But of course, because it does, it makes it a little bit easier. But still, you have to do a lot to get to this boss fight, and not everyone has defeated Alpha Rockwell, so it's going to be right here. At number 9 is the Dinopithecus Costume. In order to get this one, you need to kill Alpha Dinopithecus King to get it. And also, in order to use the skin, you actually have to kill the boss. It won't let you equip it if you haven't killed the boss, which isn't a requirement for the Rockwell fight skin for the Scary Skull one, which does make it a little bit rarer because you can't just have someone give it to you. And also, you can't cheese this boss fight either like you can with the Rockwell fight and the Cactus Broth method. So that's why I have it above the Scary Soul Mask, is because the boss fight you can't cheese to get the skin. So you have to actually get it legit, and it's locked to your character on who can actually wear it. So that does make it pretty cool. And of course, the skin itself is pretty funny. You know, you got a giant monkey costume, but I think this one's pretty cool. And number 8 is the Master Controller Helmet. In order to get this one, you need to defeat the Master Controller. But the thing about this one is you don't have to kill the Alpha variant to get it. You just have to kill the Gamma or the Beta or the Alpha one, whichever one you want. It'll give it to you either way, which does make it a bit easier because all of these other ones you need to kill the Alpha variant to get it instead of just the regular variant. So that does make it a little bit easier, but this is still the hardest boss in the game, I would say. And if it were lucked to the Alpha version, it'd be ranked a lot higher on the list. But you have to, in order to get to this boss fight, you have to do all the missions and stuff as well, which is why I think it's harder than the Dinopithecus King and the other Rockwell fight as well. And number 7 is the Mutated Survivor skin. In order to get this one, you need to kill Alpha Rockwell Prime on Genesis 2. And the reason I think it's more rare than the Master Controller one is because, first off, you have to fight the Alpha variant, and you have to do all the missions on Genesis Part 2 in the Alpha version as well. So you have to do a lot more missions, and you have to kill the Alpha variant. And of course, once you do, you can only equip the skin if you have actually killed Alpha Rockwell Prime. It won't let you equip it if you haven't killed that boss, meaning someone can't just give it to you either, making it even more rare. And number 6 is the Homo Deus skin. This is another skin where you need to kill a boss in order to get it. But this one you need to kill the Alpha King Titan. And this one I think is harder than all the other ones because of a few reasons. First off, you have to kill all the other Titans in order to fight the King Titan, and then you have to, in order to fight the Alpha variant of the King Titan, you also have to fight the Gamma and the Beta, which I believe the Beta version would actually be harder than the Alpha because you can't use the Mega Mech. So you have to go through all those boss fights just to get to the Alpha variant where you can kill it. And of course, the King Titan is really hard. So all of that just to get this skin, but it is a pretty cool skin. At number 5, we have the Rex Stomped Glasses. And finally, a one where you don't have to defeat a boss in order to get this one, but this one is pretty difficult and tedious to get because you have to tame every single dinosaur in the game, which I personally haven't done because there's just a few creatures like, say, the Troodon or other stuff like that, just really random ones that are really hard to tame and don't really give you much. Most players in the game haven't tamed every single creature in the game. It's a very select few because, like I said, a lot of them are useless and really hard to tame. And some of them are just, there's just tons of difficult creatures to try and tame. There's so many, so you have to go and try and tame all of those. Now, you could go into single player and cheat and tame all of them, but that would still take forever. And you have to actually tame them. I believe you can't just, spawn them in either, have it count. You'd actually have to, cheat tame them. So even if you wanted to use cheats, this would still take hours, which I don't think anyone would actually go to their like way to do, I guess, unless they were really dedicated. So this one is definitely a rare one. At number 4, we have Muire. This one is pretty hard to get and pretty rare itself, but to actually be able to use it is insanely hard, and why it's so high on the list. As most of you guys probably know, but I will go over it for the people who don't know. Basically, in order to be able to use this thing, first off, you need to kill Alpha Fenrir Sulfur, which is how you get it. And in order to fight Alpha Fenrir Sulfur, you first have to fight all of the mini-bosses on Fjordur, and you have to fight the island guardians that are on Fjordur, like the Brood Mother, Megapithecus, and the Dragon. So once you do all of that, then you'll be able to actually fight Fenrir Sulfur and defeat it. But after that, you also have to get to level 190 to be able to be worthy of wielding this thing, which requires you to defeat multiple bosses on Alpha. And there's a few different ways you can get to level 190. The ways being either defeating certain bosses like the Master Controller on Alpha, or the Overseer, or something like that, to get those extra 15 levels. And then you also need to do other stuff like getting your Chibi levels up by killing Alphas. And then you can also get it by, I believe, getting all the runes and getting all the Explorer notes, which is still a ton of different stuff to be able to get to level 190 and takes forever. I know I've heard people talk about it in my comments and stuff that said they've literally spent months and months grinding just to be able to get this thing. So it's quite a bit of work to be able to use Muire and unlock it. And number 3 is a wizard ball cap, and all the ones at number 3 I've had a hard time finding information about them. There's very little information about them, assuming probably because they're really rare and very few people have them. Basically, first one, the wizard ball cap. In order to get this one, you have to be a Ark dev kit user, or I guess specifically on the wiki it says an Ark dev kit master. Not really sure exactly what that means, but I'm assuming it's like select people on the dev kit that actually have access to this thing. So not very many people. It also mentioned that there was like a time during some event in 2016 where you could acquire these, but that's still a very like specific time where probably not a lot of people actually managed to get this thing. But still, in order to get this one, you had to be a dev kit user, something like that. I'm sure someone in the comments might be able to elaborate a little bit more, but that's what it seems like from here. Next, number 2 is the Ark Tester Hat. This one is only being given to people who actually tested the game before it came out, or at least I'm pretty sure that is what it was for, assuming, because it basically just says that people that tested the game. Not really too much detail on it, but I'm guessing it's just people who tested it before it came out. So not that many people that actually did that, so this one's going to be pretty rare. But at number 1 is the fan ball cap skin. This one is only given out to people who work at Wildcard, or the people who make Ark. And obviously, that's not a lot of people, making this pretty much the rarest skin in the entire game, because only a few developers actually have access to the skin. And of course, all these skins you can spawn in, so I guess in single player they're not really that rare because you can just spawn them in anyway, but it's still cool to see these skins and how rare they are. If you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like and also subscribe. Thanks for watching, and bye.